can't do this. I'm not confident enough to do that. I'll do that later. Do these resonate with you in any way? Does this sound like you, how you think, how you speak to yourself? How do I know that you're saying these things? It's because I've spoke like that too. I've thought like that too. What made me think of this video is that I fell back into my old way of thinking that I'm not intelligent, thinking that I can't do this whole YouTube journey, doubting myself, worrying about the future. And that was created by my environment. Recently I've been to Sweden, and while I was there, I had no structure to my life. Everything was planned. I didn't have to do anything. I was drinking what I wanted, eating what I wanted. So I had no structure to my life, and this made me fall back into that old way of thinking, because that's how my life used to be. It was unstructured. I had nothing planned throughout the day. Drinking, eating shit. Like, to some of you that might sound good, but now I'm out of it, and now I'm back to my structure of deep work and working on these videos, and just having structure in my life has made me realise that I adapted that old way of thinking. Because when the first week back, I was doubting myself. I was struggling with my self-beliefs. I just wasn't believing in myself, and that was because of that environment. That environment created me and made me go back to my old way of thinking. So what I'm trying to say is, you'll want to question your whole life. What is affecting my way of thinking? How do my friends treat me? What do they say? What do they say to me? Is it making me feel energized, or is it making me feel uninteresting? What are the food that I'm putting in my body? Is it making me have brain fog, or is it truly nutrient dense? What am I doing on my phone? What am I watching? What am I reading? All these things you need to question and eliminate out your life if they're not serving you in a positive way. Because all of these different things, and there will be many more things in your life that will be causing you, like your job, that will be causing you your way of thinking, affecting your way of thinking, and you'll need to figure out what it is that is affecting your way of thinking. It could be the job, it could be a girl, it could be gaming, it could be what you're reading, what you're listening to. These things will be affecting you in drastic ways that are keeping you living that same mundane life, that keep you thinking how you are thinking, waking up every day not being satisfied with the relationships you're in, the jobs that you get. This is how your way of thinking, how your environment is going to affect your way of thinking, and how your thinking is going to affect your environment. Until you become aware of what is affecting you, affecting your way of thinking, then you will always live this same life. It's comfortable, it doesn't make you feel like a man, it makes you feel like a boy that can't control his emotions, that smokes weed every day, that drinks weekend after weekend, that's lost, that has no direction in his life. Ask yourself, do you want to control your mind? Do you want to control your emotions? What job you get? What girl you end up with? What friends that are around you? Or do you want to keep being unsatisfied with relationships, with the jobs that you get? Unsatisfied with gaming because it just doesn't hit the same as it used to? Nothing will change unless you change your way of thinking. Your friends will be the same, your girlfriend will be the same, your job will be the same, your life will be exactly the same. Are you happy with living the life you are living right now for however long you live? For the rest of your life, are you happy with how your life is right now? If yes, click off this video, because I don't want you to watch this video. You're happy with where you are, you're comfortable, you have settled with how your life is. If no, then we are going places. We will not settle until we get what we want. I know you are listening, because you know the way I'm speaking, I know stuff that you don't. I can help you and give you the resources that I know, the information that I know, my life experiences. I can give you that information and help you in your life. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm creating these videos. I want to help and create a community of strong-minded men that can control their emotions, that know exactly what they want in life. Is that you? For a long time I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have any belief that I could do anything. I seen myself as stuck. as one of the unlucky ones. Seen a lot of people on social media, whatever it may be, living this rich life, driving the nice cars, going on holiday all the time, owning a business, being a businessman, and it just puts self-doubt in myself. I was lost for a long time. I didn't know what I wanted to do, what woman I wanted, where I wanted to go. Everything was just a blur. I couldn't even think about what I wanted. When I tried to think about it, I just said that basic stuff. Oh, I want to own a business, I want to go on holiday, I want to be able to do this, that. And that is the end goal, is to be able to do that. But on the way to that goal, you come up with a lot of unexpected experiences and lessons that you don't even realise that you needed or wanted. And just by changing your environment and everything that's around you, from eating, your girlfriend, your friends, your job, these all affect your way of thinking. And I've realised that now, that your environment, sound, what you consume, what you think about on a daily basis, what you read, all has an effect on the way you think and the way you think about yourself. And it's took me up until this point, like about a year ago, where I really started making big changes in my life, big improvements. It's took me this long to, and I'm still learning now. Like I said, like a week ago, after coming out of that holiday, I'm still realising stuff now, what things that affect me, what challenges, what still challenges me. And by understanding that my environment, the things that I'm listening to, the things that I'm reading, is affecting my way of thinking, my habits and my way of thinking has greatly increased positively, and it's beginning to affect people around me. I'm beginning to affect people in my actual real life around me, making them feel positive, making them want more, making them question their life. The people that are around me are growing, and they're making me grow, and it's just like this wave of thoughts and ideas making us all grow at once. And this was very different to how I used to live. I had friends that I would go out with and we would have a surface level conversation. It was never deep. It was never about where we wanted to go, what we wanted to do. I didn't have friends that seeked that improvement on the level that I seeked the improvement. I didn't have friends that had the same values. I didn't get into relationships that the girls had the same values. And I let them friendships, the relationships, bring me down in a way. I came to their level because I thought, I'm weird for thinking this sort of stuff. Why am I so fixated on improving myself all the time? Is there ever going to be an end point to my self-improvement? Am I ever going to get to that end goal? And for a long time I just settled. settled because I had no one to relate with, no one to have that conversation with. I would eat like them, I would do what they would do, drink, smoke, eat kebabs, dirty kebab meat. And all of this affected my way of thinking, it affected my emotions, made me a boy, not a man. I couldn't control my emotions. I didn't know what I wanted, what girl I wanted, what job I wanted. I was completely lost on who I was, what I liked, what activities I liked, what I liked doing in my spare time. To now, where I'm experimenting on little things that I like, taking up little hobbies, experimenting, seeing if I like that, seeing if I like this, opening up conversations with the people that I are surrounded with, and seeing where it takes us. Not being afraid of what other people think about me, because I am just being my truly authentic self, where before I was trying to please others, trying to do things that made them happy and not me, just to get that sense of a deeper connection, a relationship with them, but it wasn't benefiting me in any way. The jobs that I had that made me didn't allow me to progress in any sort of way. I stayed in the same position for 5 years without any progression. The same place for 5 years. I would feel tired all the time. I would lack. I would try and build this new habit up, whatever it may be. Say it would be quit gaming, because there was a couple of times where I just completely quit gaming, sold my PC, and I was like, no, I'm completely changing my life now. And because I was tired, because this job didn't allow me to sleep properly, I was working nights and early days, and because of this, because of my way of eating, because of my emotions, because how tired I was affecting my emotions, and because of my food was affecting my emotions, it all played together, and I couldn't stick to that new habit, that new routine that would improve me much further than what anything I was doing in my job, my relationships. I couldn't stick to it, or if I did stick to it, it was only like a month, if I was lucky, 2 months maybe. I would always revert back to my old way of thinking, my old habits, my old friends, because I felt lonely. I felt lost. I beat myself up every time I reverted back to my old way of thinking. And you can feel yourself going back. The thing is, you can feel yourself going back to that old way of thinking and them old habits. You stop drinking for a little bit, and then all of a sudden someone asks you to go for a drink, and you're like, oh, I want to a little bit, and it's just because you can't deal with the emotions that you're going through right now. The situation that you're going through right now, you're not happy with where you are, so you want to drink it away. You're tired, you're hungry, your diet's shit. It's all playing a role in how you're thinking, and your environment is that. The environment that you're in is creating your way of thinking. But again, your way of thinking can create your environment. But to finally get past that point of progressing and then reverting back, to get past that part of reverting back. And when you find yourself reverting back, you have to become aware that you are reverting back. And yes, you are, slightly aware. You're like, oh, I shouldn't do this, but I want to, and stuff like this. You're making excuses. But to stop making excuses, to stop reverting back to your old ways, to stay on that path of growth, because that is just the beginning. And that's like the first test. That you reverting back is the first test to know if you are ready. And I wasn't ready until I developed this practice of journaling. Until I took up journaling, I could see things. I couldn't see things from a different perspective. My thoughts were scattered all over the place. I couldn't be alone. Journaling is the one practice that really helped me get my thinking straight. Really helped me develop patience and gratitude, because I took up gratitude journaling and just normal journaling. It helped me think in a way that I've never thought before. And that way of thinking is just talking. And that when you talk, when you just say how you feel or what you think and what's on your mind, you just start to write, and you just keep writing. You write about your day, you write about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and then 6 lines in, a paragraph in, 2 paragraphs in, however long it is, you'll start to unwind on why you think that way, why you feel that way. You start seeing your unconscious thoughts, your subconscious thoughts. And it awakens you in a way. It's like a little win when you get them moments of, oh my god. It makes you feel like you are getting to know yourself better. It allowed me to get to know myself better, to know what I want, to know what I want in a woman, what I want in a job, what I want in life. It allowed me to develop self-respect, self-love, confidence. It allowed me to think clearly, clear my mind, put my thoughts down on a piece of paper when my thoughts got a bit too much, when my mind was all scattered all over the place because I've been consuming social media too much, been looking at other people's lives, judging myself too much. It allowed me to stop doing that. Or if I did do it, it allowed me to put them at rest, put them on that piece of paper, and I didn't have to think about them then, because they're there. I can come back to them at a later date. I can think about it later, or I can think about it now. I took up gratitude journaling and just general journaling on writing about my day and what I thought, my general thoughts. I can't think right now because there's flies all around me, just attacking me, making me not being able to think. Right. And so with this gratitude journaling, it allowed me to be grateful. It helped me develop patience and gratitude, obviously. Because I was always in a rush. I need to do this fast, fast, faster. I need to get better, faster, faster. I need to work 12 hours a day on myself. I need to just, yeah. It allowed me to develop that patience and see myself. I am slowly improving every single day. I am improving in some way every single day. And just by that gratitude journaling, that you are improving in a way that is very little every single day, but it makes up for a big in the end, you will truly feel gratitude, because at first I was just doing it because it was good. People told me it was good, so I said, okay, then I'm going to learn to try and be grateful for the things I've got, the little things, my socks, my water, my bed, my pillow, whatever it may be. You just start to write it down, and eventually you truly become grateful. There was one day that I sat down and I cried with how grateful I felt with where I was at. I've never, ever in my life cried because of how grateful I felt. I've never cried because of how happy I felt. That moment was truly awakening for me. It made me feel like, yes, I am on the right path. Think about that. Crying because I'm happy with where I am. Thankful for where I am, what I've done, where I've come from. That's strong. And that's what gratitude journaling allowed me to develop, is to truly be grateful for everything around me. The simple things like this piece of grass. It's just, life becomes beautiful when you develop that gratitude, and then paired with writing down your thoughts. It clears your mind, and then you're happy and grateful, and then your mind is clear and focused. So this was my main thing for developing my way of thinking, changing my way of thinking. My mind would always be clouded and fogged with emotions and thoughts, and I had ideas, but I never wrote them down, so I'd never go through with them. I had emotions that I would never develop or look at until like a month later, or whenever I couldn't handle my emotions and I started crying, bursting out crying because I couldn't deal with my emotions anymore. Journaling allowed me to deal with them there and then. It allowed me to understand myself on a completely different level. And by understanding myself on a completely different level, it allowed me to understand others on a different level. It's allowed me to do these videos. It's allowed me to understand you listening right now. It's allowed me to understand you, to be able to talk about what I've been through, my experiences. I've developed. I'm not embarrassed of my past. I've journaled it. I've thought about it long and hard on where I've come from. And I'm not embarrassed of my past. I've realised that that's my strength. That's where I've come from. That's where I can learn from. There's a difference between looking at the past in a negative way and looking at the past in a positive way. And because we're on this self-improvement journey, we need to be able to look at the past to analyze what we used to be like, so we don't go back to that way of thinking and that way of feeling. We can't dwell on the past, because if we dwell on the past, this is when emotions come in, and this is when we don't feel grateful for our journey. This is where we don't make improvements. We get stuck in that mindset of how we used to think. And so we need to use the past as a map to the future. So we think back, how did gaming used to make me feel? It used to make me feel shit, lazy, unproductive, like a boy, a virgin. And then you can tell yourself in the present day that's how it makes you feel. And then tomorrow, today, wherever it may be, where you face with that challenge of like, okay, I feel like gaming today, should I? You need to ask yourselves, how did that used to make you feel? How did that help me in any way? It didn't. It didn't develop any sort of skill in my real life. It didn't help me in my business, it didn't help me in my relationships. It didn't help me in any way. So this is why I would recommend journaling. It's allowed me to open up and have this conversation right here, right now. It's allowed me to get to know myself better. And once you know yourself better, you can move in a direction that you want to go in. For a long time, my direction of growth, my self-improvement journey was very scattered here, there and everywhere. I really went off on what I was watching on the internet, on what videos I seen, and I seen a fitness video, so I'd go and smash out in the gym. I seen how to speak to someone video, how to get more confident in speaking to people, then I'd go and do that day, and that's it. I would do that for like a week, and then, or whatever it may be, however long, and then that would develop, that would dictate on what direction I wanted to go in, what I wanted to focus on. I didn't have my direction I wanted to go in. That allowed that stopped me, that slowed my progress down, because I didn't know which direction I wanted to go in, because I hadn't really thought about it, and when I did think about it, it was just like a passing thought, and then like next week, the day after, that thought was gone. I had other things going on in my life, so because I wrote it down in my journal, I know it's there. It's I can look back at it, and when times get tough or whatever, or I'm a bit lost, I can look back to that, and then that gives me that direction. And with that direction, you have to ask questions. Ask questions like, what do I want to do next? Where do I want to go? What can benefit me now? How can I improve? These sorts of questions, just normal, good questions that you can ask yourself on things that need to improve in your life. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm happy with that. I hope you took something from that. Let's get on to the next one. Right, this is going to sound obvious, but you might not have thought about it. And it's what content you consume. And there's a few things I mean by this. Obviously the internet, on what podcasts you listen to, if you listen to any, what YouTube videos you watch, what things you see on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, whatever app you use. This will dictate how you think. It will put things into your head on how you think, and if you're scrolling on social media and just seeing random bits of information, then you're going to have the conversations that you're going to have are going to be just as random as the information that you're seeing. There's going to be no structure to it, no flow to the conversation. It's not going to be back and forth. and that's because of the content you're consuming and the conversations you're having. The next bit of information, that the content that you're consuming, is the people that you are friends with, the relationships that you have with people. This will greatly dictate on how you think of yourself, how you think of life, what you think of a job, what you think of your girlfriend, your relationship, your relationships, the conversations you have with people will have a massive impact on how you think. Probably the most impact it will have on how you see other people, how you have conversations with other people. The relationships that you have, the conversations that you have with people will greatly affect your everyday thinking. Because the thing is, if you have friends, have people on the internet that you're taking this information from, and they're insecure, they're putting their insecurities out there onto you for you to feel sorry for them, for you to help them in a way. Yes, it does give you a sense of connection when you help someone in that way, but when someone can put their insecurities onto you, it'll make you feel more insecure. The content that you consume will greatly dictate on how confident, how talkative you are, how you think. And this is why, if you want to develop your business, if you want to develop your business mindset, if you want to develop your conversation, you will want to hang around with conversational people, business people, because then you develop their way of thinking. Your way of thinking hasn't served you. You are where you are right now. You are lonely, you haven't got many friends, you go to the gym every so often, you game a little bit, you smoke weed, you drink, whatever. That's because of your surroundings. The content that you're consuming is not benefiting you in any way. The information that you are taking in is lackluster. Because of the content I was consuming, and it made me feel insecure, it made me feel lonely, because the content that I was consuming, I was gaming all the time, I was watching gaming videos on YouTube, a little bit of self-help videos that here and there, but then I was watching porn, and I was embarrassed of what I was consuming. It wasn't informative in any way. I wasn't learning anything from it. I just did that for years and years of my life. And the act of watching porn, as well as my mental health and everything that I was doing, food that I was eating, it made me develop an erectile dysfunction. There was a long time, there was a part of my life where I just couldn't hold the blood that was in my pee-pee. I was struggling a lot when I would take girls home and I would go out on nights out, and this was a part of my life where I was I thought I felt pretty good, but I was still doing this, consuming this shit content, consuming porn, consuming YouTube, gaming. So my mental health, my job was, making me tired. All this played a role in my manhood. I couldn't fuck. I couldn't be a man. My even when I would come to that point of having a wank, whatever it was, there were certain times where I couldn't even keep it hard when I was having a wank. That's how bad it got. when I was with myself, it wasn't even like nerves with a girl. It was like I couldn't even do it on my own. So it got to that point of like, I am desensitizing myself. Can you just leave me alone, please? I'm trying to do a video, trying to inform people here, and you're doing my head in. So, yeah. Until I stopped consuming that, until I stopped watching porn, until I stopped watching gaming, until I stopped gaming, till I actually started developing myself in a way that I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the stuff that I consume now. I'm past that. I can talk about it because I'm not embarrassed about that. I haven't got erectile dysfunction anymore. It was purely to do with how I was living that it caused me to ruin my manhood for like a year. A year of my life, I couldn't properly function my dick. And that really plays a big role into your mental health, or when you get in with girls. Like, I would only take it to, there would be a certain point where I would just take it to, the kissing stage or a little bit further than that, and I couldn't go the full way because I knew my dick wasn't going to work. And that can make you feel very feminine and not like a man at all, like a little boy. Not even like a little boy, because the little boy was fucking hornier than me. Do you know what I mean? So that was my way of think. That was my way of thinking. My way of thinking, the content that I was consuming was greatly affecting my manhood. And I'm telling you this now because I know a lot of you do this. You might struggle with the same thing. You might struggle with ED. You might struggle with mental health, your emotions. I'm telling you now because I want you to realize that I made the mistake and I don't want you to make the same mistake. And I'm telling you this now because your way of thinking is just a habit. You have created the life you have right now because of your way of thinking, because your way of thinking is a habit and it's dictated by your life, the things that I'm talking about in this video. And you can, if you are unhappy with your life right now, you can change that by changing your way of thinking. It all begins with how you think and what you think. To understand a habit it makes it a lot easier to develop a habit. So a habit is in place so we can do it without thinking. It lets our brain rest and do less thinking so we can put it into our business or whatever it is we can think about. That them habits are there in place to make us think less. So by understanding this, it makes it a lot easier to develop a new habit, because then we can become aware of the new habit that we're trying to build. And it makes it harder for us to develop that new habit. So say like days that we don't get enough sleep or we are a bit emotional, we will generally revert back to our old habit. These are the days that are the toughest. These are the days that are the most challenging to stick to that new habit, because we have to think more, and because our brains are tired, because we're emotional, that makes our brain tired, and it wants to do as least thinking as possible so it can focus on these emotions and repairing itself because it hasn't had enough sleep. And by understanding that, it will allow you to be aware of it on them days that are tough, on them days that you're emotional, on them days that you're tired. You really need to dial down and focus on that new habit that you're trying to build. You need to prioritize your sleep and your mental health to be able to develop a new habit of thinking differently. You want to be able to build that new habit of thinking differently. If you put diesel in a petrol car, the car won't work properly or at all. And this is exactly the same for your body. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about food. So our foods work in exactly the same way. If you're putting shit food in your body is going to perform at not an optimal rate, or optimal performance. You're not going to be able to think properly. Your thoughts are going to be shallow and dirty, just like the food that you're consuming. You're going to have thoughts of really high energy and all these great thoughts, and then you're going to deplete because of the amount of sugar your sugar levels are going to dictate on when your good levels of thinking is. And then the food that you're consuming and the time that you're consuming it will dictate when your thinking is best. When we talk about changing our diet, eating healthier, we want to be consuming whole natural foods. Foods like chicken, potatoes, broccoli, all that good stuff. The stuff with just that ingredient in it. There's no ingredients in it, just that. Pure chicken, pure broccoli, pure potatoes. These are the things that we want to be eating to affect our way of thinking, make our way of thinking healthier, more positive. Within the first week of eating healthy, you will notice difference in how well you are feeling, how better you are thinking. You will see that improvement. Even if you're not doing it for a diet or because you're going to the gym, just because you want to eat healthier, you will notice within that first week that your way of thinking, your way of feeling, your mental health will greatly improve. And with improving your mental health will become a better way of thinking. And that is what we want. We want to be able to develop that habit of eating healthy so we can develop a better habit of thinking healthily. So, and this is just another environment thing. Your food is your environment. You have to have food every single day. So you don't have to, but we will be eating generally every single day. So the food that you put in your body will dictate how you think, feel, and act. How well you can think, feel, and act as well. If you want to greatly increase your way of thinking, change your way of thinking, get that life that you want, like I said, the difference between them and you is the way of thinking. Your way of thinking is that's the only difference. And if you want to increase your level of thinking, your habit of thinking, these things that I include in this video, you want to take up and implement it into your life to be able to get to that life that you want, to see a greater level of growth. This is my strongest year of growth yet so far, and I've got so much more to go. I'm so excited for where I've got to go, where I am going, because I know that my life right now is a habit, and where I am, I'm making the most progress I've ever made in my whole entire life, because my eating's right, I'm journaling, the content I'm consuming, the relationships that I've got, I'm meditating, all these good practices that I've got into my life it speaks for itself. Look how I'm communicating and speaking, and the difference in my videos, my voice, compared to my first ever few videos. Like, I started them videos not even a year ago, probably like 8 months ago now, and that's how much I've changed till now. 8 months of progress. In just 8 months. Where will I be in 2 years? Exactly. So you need to change your way of eating, your environment. And my next thing is to start meditating, like I just mentioned. Meditation can be beneficial in many ways, obviously for your mental health. You know them all, you've probably seen them all, you've probably seen it on my channel already. Meditation can clear your mind, just like journaling. It allows your brain to rest, and when our brains rest properly, this is after that rest period, this is where our brains can properly think and digest, take in the information that we've taken in and consume it and apply it into our own lives, because our brain is rested properly, and it allows us to develop them habits more quickly, because our brain's rested. Like I said, if our brain's tired, this is where the days get harder. They're the days that are harder to stick to them new habits, the new habit of going to the gym, the new habit of I don't know, but just stick to them new habits. And with meditation, it allows your brain to rest. It allows you to feel lighter after a meditation. You are in a calmer state of mind, and because you're in that calmer state of mind, you're out of that fight or flight state that you might be in from trauma or whatever it may be. Your body is activated, your nervous system is activated. With meditation, it deactivates that, and it allows us to think more clearly, more logically. And as men, we want to think more logically and less emotionally. We're very emotional right now, and with meditation, it can allow us to bring that more masculine energy, that more masculine side of the scale, so we can attract the opposite female, feminine side. We need to develop and get into that state of calmness and quiet our mind, be able to deal with our emotions, our way of thinking. We need to think in a way that is logical, so we can help our woman, because they're going to be emotional. Our daughters are going to be emotional. Even our son's going to be emotional, because he doesn't understand what emotions are, and we need to show him the way. And if we cannot control our emotions, if we cannot be strong-minded, if we cannot develop this logical thinking and know that everything will be alright, know that we can sort whatever the problem is comes up in that family, if it's an argument, if it's a financial problem, we know we can sort that out. We know we can get to where we want to go. So it allows us to bring that state of being, of that masculine vibe, that masculine energy, to just have confidence in ourselves, confidence in the ability that we have, and it can put the whole house at ease. We know we can look after the people that are around us, our family, our wife, our children. And this is all that meditation can bring. It will lead you to this path. If you are emotional, if you are more feminine, if you are you can't think properly, you can't think straight, you can't think clearly, it's fogged, it's all over the place, it's scattered everywhere. This is what meditation can bring. It can change your way of thinking completely. I used to be more feminine. I used to have more estrogen than I had testosterone, 100%. By developing this habit of meditation, it can bring even the things that you didn't expect. I was doing it, I purely started doing it because I just wanted to calm my mind. It was a good practice to take up. But what I've learned from it is that it can bring so much more. And especially if you're feminine, if you're more feminine than masculine, if you can't control your emotions, it will move you into that masculine role just by making yourself calmer, by understanding yourself, by being present and being grateful for everything around you, and feeling your feelings and thoughts and understanding them more on a deeper level. So yeah, this is what meditation can bring. The practices that you desperately need to take from this video is journaling and meditation. The others I want you to focus on later on. But if there was two that I would choose for you to develop and to make the most drastic change in your life, is meditation and journaling. This will allow you to understand yourself more, write down your self-beliefs and develop your self-beliefs, how you think, how you feel. And then with meditation, it allows you to become calm, deactivate your nervous system, and together it can just create this superhuman. You can make the most progress you've ever made in your life just from these two practices. And then I know for a fact, if you start these two practices of meditation and journaling, everything else will fall into place. You will start eating healthier. You will start consuming healthier content. You will naturally find better people around you. You will choose your friends wisely. Just from these two practices alone, you will make great growth in your self-improvement journey. And I can guarantee that without a doubt. So take these two practices, develop them. Even if it doesn't feel like it's doing anything, just keep doing it. I promise you, it will do wonderful things for your mental health, like nothing before. These two practices alone will improve you greatly on your self-improvement journey. And you know that can be a hard, lonely place. And you know you won't feel like doing it. There are days where you just don't feel like doing it, where you're tired and emotional. But you need to do what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing.